everybody. Welcome to Human Global Cultural Diversity. In this course, we will be looking at cultural anthropology as a discipline and all of the different kind of various cultural practices that we see throughout the world and the basic rationale that human groups have for practicing those certain cultural practices. So we'll look at everything from how do different cultures interpret religion and the supernatural. We'll look at how different cultures address globalism and the economy. We'll look at how power and politics plays a role in various cultural settings. And we will also look at how rites of passage play a major role in cultures, which is kind of interesting, as most of our anti-hazing training today kind of covers rites of passage. But in anthropology, we have a very, very distinct way in which we define a rite of passage. It's moving from one stage of life to the next. And in most cultures, there's some sort of ceremony or some sort of event that happens during that transition. So we'll kind of cover that in much, much more detail. So the course will start rather broad. The way I like to run my courses is I like to start by covering broad concepts and topics and then kind of narrow our focus into individual cultures and individual practices. So the progression will be covering roughly one chapter and one topic per week. You can check the syllabus to see the course progression and all of the different topics that we'll cover. There's only 1 week where we kind of combine topics. That's weeks 8 and 9 when we talk about gender and sexuality, and that's because those two chapters in the textbook are very, very similar to each other. So I just kind of lump them together. Like I said, we'll start by defining anthropology, the discipline, and then we will look at various cultural elements and the various rationales that different cultures have for those cultural practices. The textbook is called Cultural Anthropology, a Toolkit for a Global Age by Kenneth Guest. Any addition past the first one will do. I essentially built the course using the second and third edition of the book. So any edition of the book except for the first one will work really well for this course. You must acquire the textbook. It will not be easy to complete the discussion posts nor the exams if you don't have the textbook, right? The textbook is essential. I do provide recorded lectures. There will be a lecture video each week, sometimes 2 lecture videos each week, and generally there will be a documentary video. I will upload those into a different folder over the coming week here. And that documentary folder that will contain videos that you can use for your impact statement assignment. Attendance is mandatory for this class. Although this is an online course, everything is fully online. Like you would see in the 4th point there are no set meeting times for the course, but you still need to access the course or access Canvas at least once per week to gain credit. And you must access at least 80% of the course materials to receive full credit. So what this is saying is that, in essence, you need to at least log on once a week to view the lecture video and complete any assignments or any discussion posts there are. You need to at least log on for at least 10 to 12 weeks out of the semester to get that 80% threshold. What this is really doing is it's giving you an opportunity that if you get sick or if you have to travel for a week or two, that you can do that without penalty. Along with the discussion posts, you'll have 2 exams throughout the semester. There's a midterm and a final exam. They are both multiple choice and 50 questions apiece. They are both open book and open notes, and they are timed. If you are someone that has an Access or SAS exemption, make sure that you get that filled out so that they email it to me so that I can ensure that I assign the extra time for you on your exams. Other than that, the exams are pretty straightforward. It's mostly definitions and kind of examples of concepts. So if you have the textbook handy when you take the exam, you should be fairly successful on it. I would utilize the index of the textbook to look up terms or maybe the glossary, and that might help you answer the questions a little more quickly. Okay, this course also has 5 discussion posts throughout the semester. The first one is due on either week 4 or week 5. That you must write a cohesive post. It must be written in multiple paragraphs. I don't want to see a single cohesive paragraph. None of the discussion prompts can be answered in a single paragraph. Your response should be no less than 250 words. Usually it should be between 250 and 500 words. You must use citations in your discussion posts. Anytime that you are providing an example, or you are defining a term, or you are making a quote, you need to use an in-text citation. I've provided here an example of what your in-text citation should look like. You do not need to go anywhere. There's only 1 week, I believe, where I ask you to do outside research on the internet. So everything else, every other discussion post, every other prompt, the citations you should be using should be coming from your textbook. Apart from that, as long as you kind of format it, make sure there's no grammatical errors or spelling errors, and you make sure that you use your the citations correctly, there shouldn't be any issues. You do not need to include an end citation or a reference at the end of your post unless you are citing from some other source besides your textbook. I would be very careful using outside sources. The general rule that I like to follow is do not use a source if it does not have a date or author, right? Particularly an author, right? You need to be able to attribute that information to somebody. So, with that being said, I hope that you all get an opportunity between now and Thursday, or now and the end of the week, to kind of review the syllabus, make sure that you access the course at least once, and you begin to kind of think about acquiring the textbook as well as working on that first discussion post. As far as it goes, everything for the course is now open on Canvas except for the final exam, which will be uploaded later, as well as the documentary videos, which I will have uploaded by the end of the week. Apart from that, all the lecture videos are done through YouTube, so you could, if you want to bookmark my YouTube channel, or subscribe to it, you can easily access it that way as well, but I will also provide links in Canvas. One final thing that is extremely important that you all do, make sure you go onto Blackboard and fill out the pre-semester survey sometime this week. And then once you fill out that pre-semester survey, it should be right there in the course content. Then you can switch over to using Canvas exclusively for the rest of the semester. So if you have any issues accessing or you can't see Canvas on your learning management system, be sure to shoot me an email and we can try and help you figure it out. And with that being said, I am always available via email. I have a less than 24-hour response time, so you will definitely get a response relatively quickly. If you have any technical issues or anything like that, just feel free to reach out to me. I'm always available. So yeah, I hope you guys all enjoy the course, and I will touch base with you once everything is kind of loaded into Canvas and complete.